How's everybody doing today? This is Christopher Rose with Junk Doctors NJ, the sponsoring business that's sponsoring this podcast. We have somebody very interesting today, very unique. Ellen Sandman, a former business administrator of multiple different townships and it's actually cities, Jersey City, and also Denville for many over 30 years. Very knowledgeable. She's retired, but she still stays contacted with the community, still helps and offers assistance when needed. She has a great story, great background story. And I'm excited. This is one of my I think is going to be one of my most favorite interviews. We've had many, and I'm not saying that nobody wasn't interesting, but what comes with Ellen is things that we're going to find out. Her journey and what business administrators do. A lot of people, the average person, we work so much nowadays, and the average person, they don't know what goes on behind the scenes at town halls and who does what, and they don't get the appreciation they deserve. Ellen has put in her life into this. I've talked to her before this interview, and I'm going to hand it over to Ellen. And Ellen, thank you for coming up to Junk Doctors and just giving us an interview and coming to talk to us.
Well, thank you very much, Chris. I want to say one thing, though, no pressure. So it better be a good fun. But one of the things I want to make sure I mentioned, last evening I was at the downtown Denville meeting, and I told them that I was going to be on the Junk Doctors as a podcast, and Meg Olenowski said, oh, they're very supportive of our experience, the downtown events. And so I just want to mention, and so not pridefully, I'll say the dates and everything. They're sponsoring and helping us sponsor the Denville After Dark, which is going to be on June 16th. There's another one in July, the 28th. Then, as you all know, Pink Witches, which is a fabulous event for breast cancer. They're actively supporting that, and that's going to be on October 13th. And then, of course, our holiday. One of the things I was talking to someone else that's here, John, and I said to John that we actually had ice skating on Broadway.
That was amazing.
I thought that was amazing.
So cool.
And not to be outdone, the Creative Touch folks came, and they had a snow machine.
That was amazing.
And we had fire pits, and we had. It was amazing, we had ice skating downtown, and we're going to have that again on November 20th.
I hope everybody from other townships come, because we've seen so many people there. It was amazing.
It's just amazing.
Yes,
so,
Denville definitely did their thing that night.
Yeah, Chris, I came, I worked for Jersey City for 12 years, worked my way up to being the assistant administrator. For one time, finally, the business administrator took some well-deserved time off, and I was the acting BA of the second largest city for about 9 days. So
wow.
I really, I was happy to do that.
That's
and then
amazing.
It was time, as my husband said, it's time, Elle, you go and you become your own business administrator, not the assistant.
Mm-hmm.
So I came out to Denville, and there were 12 people being interviewed back in 1986.
Excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt you. I want people to know the timeline. I really want them to know, like, when this was during.
This is 1986.
1986 when Ellen first came to Denville.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Came out to Denville, and not knowing that there were 12 people being interviewed.
Small town.
Happened to be 11 men and 1 woman. I don't want to say anything.
Yeah, back then it was different.
I did get the job.
That was amazing. That's amazing.
I would
Remember, this is the 80s, guys.
I will say this, and this is a story that was told to me by one of the people that were on the panel, and he was became mayor, James Dyer, but he was had said to his wife, "I'm not too sure about this person," because he was back then. I'll call him a chauvinist, but I never considered him a chauvinist. But anyway, she asked me to come to speak to her after a particular day. I was volunteering, and I came over to her, and she said, "I have to tell you this. My husband came home after the first interview, and in my own living room, he looked to the right and he looked to the left, and he says, 'I think I'm for the Broad.'" So I got the job, and we became fast friends.
That's great.
He did a wonderful job working with James Starr.
What motivated you to pursue this path?
Well, growing up in Jersey City, which is, as you know, a very political entity, I mean, we talked around the table. I mean, I used to kid around and say I was going to be the mayor of Jersey City. But coming out here and going through school, I was an economics undergraduate, and then I started the master's program for public administration as well as finance officer. And then I said, what can you do with economics? It's everything. So
It's
what
everything.
job can I have? And that was the business administrator, because that's the person, no
That-
offense, mayors out there and
Yes.
council people, the working horse is the business
Yes,
administrator.
before you go any further, I want people to really listen to that because that was a question that I was very interested in. Could you at least summarize what a business administrator is responsible? Because the responsibilities are very vast.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that you want to pride yourself in doing is to get the knowledge that you need. And as I said, I have a master's in public administration, but one of the main things I wanted to make sure I did get was the business, the fact that the finances is the lifeblood of any kind of community. So I became a certified municipal finance officer. I went through the Rutgers program so that when I
Wow.
interacted
I
with
wish my
my
accountant would do that.
finance people, we got the best product out of it. You know, they were certified and I was certified and certifiable sometimes because it's a crazy operation we
Yes.
do. But
But
as
you
the-
deal with a lot.
yeah,
You're dealing
yeah.
with infrastructure.
When I went to
plumbing.
Parsippany, they didn't renew the at the one time the clerk, and they said, "Okay, Ellen, you're the clerk, you're the business administrator, you're the public
Is that
safety
a part
director."
time or that was a full time?
I was the full-time business administrator.
In Parsippany.
I had to be the finance officer
Oh my
for a while till we
God.
got a finance director.
Is that because of the small town and they couldn't find?
Well, somebody had left, somebody retired. I've had experiences where somebody actually passed away as the finance director. And because I was certified, I had to do both.
So you're telling me back then you couldn't say, that's not my job.
No, I didn't say that. And I will say this, and maybe it is prideful. I never asked for additional funding to do it. I got my pay as the business administrator, but at times, especially like when I said in Parsippany, I was the clerk for 6 months. When you're on the podium there, you're on one end, I was the finance director, the administrator,
Wow,
and then
so
on the
you
other
wore
end,
so
the
many
clerk.
hats.
So, it offers that you make the best decisions because you're inundated with so much information and so much caring. So, what a business administrator is, they're the team leader. They're the champion of the people. You know, you work with your finance director, you work with your engineers, you work with your public works director. You go out in the field with them. You check, how do you get the best product? You get grants, but you want to make sure, for example, we got the largest funding back when, and we built 2 soccer fields. We saved part of the farming, and we had open space. And we did it on time, under budget, and within the wherewithal.
And you don't hear that much in New Jersey. You typically hear over budget, a lot of,
even
things.
building a town hall in Denville.
And also, I don't want to downplay that. I mean, you played a very big pivotal position there.
Absolutely. And what I did was, I brought the team that was going to build the building, and we sat at a table. They were that side. I had my purchasing agent, I had my buildings and ground people, I had myself. And I said to everybody at the table, I said, there might be 2 sides to this table, but there's only one table. We're going to do one thing. We're going to build a building, and we're going to build it together because, and as I said to you in passing, and I think this is something that makes a difference in how I came to do what I do. And that is, when the building was built, the majority of the people that worked on the building were from Macedonia. So I said to my buildings and ground guy, I said, you know what, Ronnie, go and get a flag for the Macedonian flag.
Yes.
And we raised that flag. And again, the gentleman,
now Macedonians, it was mostly the Macedonians that were building.
And if you know anything about that country, that's one of their major things, construction.
Mm-hmm.
And they did a fabulous job. And he was so prideful. And when I handed it to him, he said, "You made me a hero in my country."
And you raised it before the American flag. And I could just imagine, I would have felt like, wow, that's just like such a symbol, symbolic thing to do for somebody. And that was great.
One of the other things is I find how to well, in the old building, when we used to have Christmas and raise, people would adopt a family. So we had 400 families. You wouldn't believe that in Denville, but 400 needy families, and they had no place because the building was small. So they had no place to put, the gifts. So they kept bringing them into my office. And one time I was on the telephone and they piled it up. I had to call out and say, could you ask them to move some? I can't get out of my chair because I'm surrounded
You got a hoarding
by
situation.
So what happened is, one time a lawyer came into the office and he looked around and he said, and I can't help myself, I do kid around. That's what kept my humor, helped me manage the job.
Oh, I can imagine.
And he came in and I just said, they really loved me. And but what I did was I said, no, these are gifts for everybody.
That's
all
nice.
the gifts leave. And
Yes.
under the desk, I see a basketball.
Yes.
And I put the basketball and I call up the social service person. I said, Grace, there's a basketball. Did somebody not get a basketball? She goes, oh, that was an extra gift. I said, can I have it? She goes, sure. What do you want it for? I said, I'll let you know later. So I took the basketball. Myself and Pat Balba, who was a councilwoman, we had built the affordable housing up at the other side of Route 10, and they didn't build the basketball court. Now, these kids were crossing Route 10.
Aw.
They were shooting the basketballs up against the house. So I said to Pat, let's take this basketball and bring it to the housing and have all the kids sign it. We put it back in the box. We put it in a shopping bag, and I knew that we were going to go to the county for some funding. So I said, let's bring it. And we went to say, we need you to give us $100,000 to build a basketball court, fully equipped at the housing.
Wow.
So what they did was, I said, then when you finish the presentation, we rolled the basketball down, and they rolled it back. We said, no, we don't want this basketball back until you give us the $100,000. Needless to say, we got the basketball back. We got the $100,000. We built it. And
that is great.
I had all the kids.
That is great.
Cut the ribbon.
You know what I like
and they
about,
took ownership of it.
And that's amazing. I like that. That was very impressive.
Because I was asked one time when I was in Mendham by a Rotary Club, what was one of the greatest things you did? And that was it, because we touched the kids' lives. They took ownership of it because their name was on that basketball. I mean, here we're talking about these things. When I first came to Denville, the Kiwanis had, back then, for their circus, they had an elephant race. I rode the elephant. We had donkey baseball for recreation. I rode the donkey. I said to them, if there's an independent animal, I don't want to ride it. I told the council. But anyway, I used to people in Jersey City who still follow what you're doing, because that's the way Jersey City people are. They stay close. And they said, do you work? I said, yeah, I try to find, in the evening, I have to do all the real work that's for the work. But I have to tell you, I think you can see in the way I'm speaking, I loved what I did. I can get emotional because
you did it for quite a while.
I did it for quite a while. And
you must have loved it.
You made a difference in people's lives. I mean, I remember in Parsippany, we had a fellow who had a third bout with cancer, and he had lost all his days because he used them for that. So what I did was I went to the personnel director, I went to the mayor, and I went to the community of the people that worked there, and I said, let's find a way to give up your vacation days, your holiday or whatever. And they did, and we were able to have that man stay home and collect his full pension on about over 100 days were donated. And so that's what you do to make a difference in your community. So, I mean, I'm not talking, yes, we did big projects. I mean, I helped get in Parsippany, $40 million grant had come in from the state, but it had to be spent by a year to build the UPS facilities there. And we did it. We got it done. And what we did was, and here's where the finance part helped. There's a thing called payment in lieu of taxes. It's called a pilot. And they wanted to do a pilot. So we did a pilot, but I negotiated the pilot. And not to be political, but Panaccio, when he met me at the groundbreaking, said—
And who was Panaccio?
He's a state senator.
Okay.
And he said, Ellen, he said, you you negotiated the best pilot in the state of New Jersey history. And I only
Really?
did one pilot, but the thing is, what it is when you do a payment in lieu of taxes,
Yeah.
the people don't pay taxes. They they have to, they pay a flat fee.
Yes.
And usually the first 10 years, it's low, the middle, it's okay. But by the 30 years, that's when the big bucks, but they leave and they never pay that. I got that up front. I got the highest amount in the first 10 years. So I didn't care if they left in the 22nd year.
So
I got the money up front.
Pre-thought.
And that, yeah.
That's very good.
So that's where the financial, acumen comes in. But again, working with people, working with my finance and my tax assessor.
You have a extensive experience with municipal governments. You served in various parts of New Jersey, including Jersey City, Mendham, Parsippany, before Denville. Could you talk about how your experience in these different locations shaped your perspective, approach toward municipal governments?
As I said, growing up in Jersey City, because of the nature of maybe my family or how it is, you really immersed yourself. You knew who your mayor was. You knew who the 9 council people were. There were 6 wards and 3 at large. You knew who they were. You knew when the election was. You knew what a primary was. You actually did know that. I guess so. Again, my husband said to me, Ellen, you've been, here 12 years. You've worked your way up to assistant. What would happen is every 4 years, a new group would come in. So if you became the business administrator, you could be it for 4 years, unless you stayed at either a civil service position, but a lower position. So department heads every 4 years left. So he says, why don't you go out to wherever. And Denville, like I said, I got the job in Denville. And so I had that people orientated and an education of how it works and understanding politics. You don't come as a Democrat or Republican. You come as a person that wants to deliver the service to clean water. When you flush, it goes away.
As a business administrator,
you just want to make sure all those things are in line. But you have to be aware and cognizant of what's going beyond the politics.
Yes.
And be fair to everybody and say, hey, look at your Ward A. You want these streets paved. They'll be paved, but we have to work together. That's when your role should be also, I always believe, you bring together. I mean, you might have in Democrats and out Democrats in Jersey City, in Republicans, out Republicans.
That's frustrating.
And sometimes that's worse than when you have Democrats and Republicans. The ins and the outs of the same party can be very arduous. But you say, hey, look at what's the goal? What's the end result? The end result is pave those streets. The people, have good recreation, have open space, care about, interact with the school, and say and shared services. I remember I used to say when I first came out here, the shared services between the school system and the administration of the local municipality was we gave to the school, and that was shared. They never shared back. But then finally we said we need recreation buses. So when is the recreation? It's usually during the summer months.
Yes.
And on the weekends.
Yeah.
So we would borrow the buses that weren't being used.
And that's
at no
great.
cost. We just paid for their bus driver and put some clean gas in. And that's how
the way to do it.
And that's the way to do it. I mean, one of the things with COA, which we haven't touched on, which has really been a big part of trying to manage a community, that's the Council on Affordable Housing. And I'm proud to say in Denville, we have the 54 units, the family housing on Route 10, and the 70 units of senior housing, which, by the way, when we built it, it was about an $8 million project, but I was able to get some funding from a lot of different sources and some banking instruments that we used to fund it. And we only paid $500,000, which we had from a developer who wanted back then some sewer allocation. So 7.5 was from other sources. And that's the way you make a project work and make it affordable for your community that's housing your seniors.
As you were in your career and as you were coming toward the end, did you have a predecessor that took your position, and were you able to train them?
No, the person that for a short time when I went to Mendham, the finance director acted as the administrator for a while.
You
and
didn't
then,
think learned anything from your actions?
well, they were an established finance director, so they
Okay.
had that going for them. But no, I mean they take on their own persona. I mean I would answer any call. Talking about knowing where things is, and thank God it helps, I think, to have a photographic memory. I remember I was in Denville for a couple of years, and a person called me, from Lorraine is her name. She was my associate, and she said, "Ellen, Doug, the finance director, can't find those documents." And I said to him,
nice.
I said, "Do me a favor, Lorraine, go into the middle room,
Wow.
turn to the right.
They can't live without you.
There's a shelf, and on the third shelf to the right
Wow.
is the documents that were this big. This is back when
Yes,
you
no.
didn't have computers
Yeah.
and you couldn't call it up."
Oh man,
So
file
she says,
cabinets.
"Hold on a minute, Ellen." So she went in the back and she said, "How did you know?"
Photos.
I said, "Well, I know Doug Gutch, and I know that Doug Gutch wasn't going to deal with them while I was gone, so they'd still be there." And they took care
So
of them,
you have a knack for organization,
I guess.
because you knew that. I mean,
Well, my finance director in in Denville one time, he needed my office for something, and I went, he borrowed it, and then he left, and I was looking for something, and my office was everything because I was involved in every aspect of the town. So he had put a rubber band around this much paper, but I knew what I was looking for wasn't in the rubber. So I called him. I said, "Bernie, when you were in my office, did you?" He said, "Yeah, I put rubber bands around." I said, "I appreciate it, but I've been looking for this, and I know there's no rubber band around what I need to find." So I found it, but anyway, got
Oh,
stuff
how
done.
annoying!
Yeah, but no, he was a good. Yeah,
I get it.
But that's the way. I mean, when
Wow.
and
that's another question I want to ask you. I'm so
Sure.
sorry,
Yeah,
but
no.
back in your day, doing this, and I don't
I'm
want
not
to sound
that
like
old.
you're old.
I'm
Yeah,
not-
that's not. I didn't mean to say
I'm
that.
only kidding.
I mean, but back then, and I grew up during the 80s, 90s. I remember seeing, like, today's technology is totally different, but do you feel like, it was harder back then to maintain and do the things, because we had to use paper and we had to put things in chronological order, alphabetical order, and keep things organized. You couldn't just throw paper and pour in paperwork. So do you believe, obviously today is the job much more easier and efficient, or has it become more complicated? I
when I did come out to Denville, it was just starting
because it was small community.
Yeah, no, but the computer was just starting to become viable, because we had a machine that when they would type it in, they had to put strategic cardboard in it. It was where they used to have these cards, the computer cards, and
Sure.
they used to put them in. And if the thing wasn't set right, it would be wasted input, because when they pressed it, the machine would do this and cut off the numbers.
Wow.
So
I know exactly what machine you're talking about.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking?
Yes.
A Pitney machine, I think.
Yeah.
Whatever. And what I did was I embraced the people in the water department, the sewer department, the ladies that did the billing, and also the finance department, which would have been, again, where you would keep all your precious documents. And I took them on tours to go to various computer entities so that they could buy, because talking about age, these were older women that have been doing their job the old-fashioned way.
Oh, okay.
But because of how I did it, they embraced the fact that they were going to have a computer, and they were going to be part of selecting which company we went with.
Great.
And it worked out good for us.
Today you could go to Denville Town Hall, and you can see that things probably have evolved, and there's more technology and computers, and they have evolved and making the infrastructure even better now.
I would agree. One of the things when we did build the building, we had a fellow by the name of John Chardy who still works for the town, and we made sure that the room that held all our computer, the network, was state of the art. So if there was a fire, it would hermetically seal, and only foam would come.
Nice.
So it would
Wouldn't
protect all
yes.
the things.
Technology.
So,
Nice.
we were always, thinking of it. I remember too, as public safety director, talking about, I said, look, we don't want any more of those wires going across the street so that how many cars pass.
Yeah, I have seen those eradicated.
I said, yeah. So now what we have is, a solar, they can tell you the speed because, and I was instrumental in telling my chief, I said, let's get them.
Yeah.
And again, you have to build up a great relationship with your public safety people because
software engineers and stuff.
The police department is, an entity kind of unto itself, but because we put the resources in the black box and then they work the system, but because they knew that I was someone that wanted to know about new things, and they did also, I use the word embrace again, but they embraced the fact that to better support the police department, how together we could make a difference. And you
have a strong bond with Denville. You have a special bond with Denville. Could you elaborate on what makes this bond so unique and strong? Has Denville changed since you started?
Well, no, because I just when I pulled up here, the UPS guy says, "Hey, Ellen, how are you?"
Wow.
So, and why? Nice. What are you doing here? And the thing is, I didn't, again, embrace. I mean, I eat at the fish store. I, buy my ice cream. Who, better than Denville Dairy? I mean, and again, we talk about you're a business guy. You're a small business guy, and that's what we have in Denville.
Yes.
What I did was I just was me. I shop in Denville. I eat in Denville. I buy things in Denville. And if you go to the mall and you can't find it, you know where they send you? Denville Hardware, because they'll have it. And so one of the things too is we also were talking about how did Denville stay in vogue with the pandemic?
Yes.
Well, one of the things I believe was the family business. And I mean, now when you go to Denville Dairy, you're served by the grandkids, or Denville Seafood, the grandkids are there. And so are the sons and daughters. The paint place, the paint place. I mean, it's,
and they're still open, even though there's a Home Depot around.
Oh yeah. And
that's
still,
great.
They're still doing
people crave that good personal quality service.
Yeah, it's family. I mean, the Rick Yobes, who is the patriarch of that, he's active in Joey Bella, the fund for catastrophic, illness of kids, and we have the big tent on July 3rd. I mean, that's Denville. Denville, you're not only like Joe from the fish store. He's in the fire department. So not only did they become own a business in Denville, live in Denville or in the surrounding area, but they volunteered for the fire department, for Kiwanis, for the Rotary.
Yes.
We have 2 Rotaries in Denville,
nice.
Sunrise Rotary and Rotary. And that's what makes Denville so special. And,
very good community.
Yeah. I was often, said as an administrator, I couldn't join, but I was always an honorary, whether it was Rotarian, selling the 50/50s at the street festival, which is coming up June. It's the first Sunday. Someone will yell from the audience out there. And
they call Denville the hub of Morris County.
Yes, they do. And we are really the hub. If you actually look at the map, we are the hub.
Yes. That's why we love it here.
You'll also love it because Randolph would die for the Broadway we have. Because
they don't have
nobody has that.
Dover, New Jersey has a downtown, but Denville also too. I mean, they're both great. I know the towns very well, hardworking people, and great restaurants, even here too. I mean, I love the downtown here. It's walkable. What do you think about the people? I mean, the people here in Denver are very nice. I mean, they seem very friendly. I know a lot of people here I've met.
You have to be very careful because you better be nice to the person you're talking to, because their relatives are going to say something to you. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody knows. I used to be in work. I never really, you were talking about, maybe we didn't talk about the word nepotism, but I have to tell you, it seemed to worked in that. We had Holinkos and Smiths, and we had the Garabrands and Sandmans, and related, and why were they related? When you watch Blue Bloods, that's a family. It's they wanted to be part of the community. My son became a police officer in Denville, but he came out first in Randolph. And I said, why don't you take Randolph? He says, Mom, I live in Denville.
And I
I
don't know
love
people
Denville. I
there.
want to be the Denville person.
Yeah.
And, so
Let me say something about the law enforcement, just not to cut you off. But when we first got this office, I'm a little clumsy with the alarm system, and I put in the wrong, I guess, dimension of code, and the alarm went off only for a few seconds, and then I got it, and I'm like, okay, the police are probably not going to show up. Within a minute, the police were here, and I was like, I'm so sorry for wait. And he was like, no, that's what we're here for. And I thanked him. I said, thank you for just your response time. I mean, we do have our stuff here, and we work out of here. And the Denville Police Department, I mean, are very good, professional, well educated. I think they're a great example. They're nice, but they're a great example.
Yeah, what it should be. I remember too, as public safety director, and I was involved with interviewing, and the James Dyer that I spoke about, he always wanted to make sure one of the elements, not only the veracity of a police officer, but the fact that they were family people, and we do. That's what we have. We have people that are family, and many we have other officers that are sons of officers that have worked here.
And your years here, 30 years and over here in Denville, obviously you remember, the way it was a little bit more smaller, less traffic, less populated. Now Denville, I see a lot more development. I've seen new houses being built, and there's just a lot of new people moving out here. Route 46 is packed, I had my son in preschool actually here in Denville, where the new Dunkin' Donuts is put up right there.
Yes,
and, so we're very familiar. My Grace, she grew up in Denville.
Mm-hmm.
We all grew up in this immediate area, but
and you still had me on the show. Grace didn't say anything.
No.
We do have a question.
We have a question?
Okay, we have a question.
Nice.
How have you seen Denville grow and change over the years, and what future transformations would you like to see?
Nice question.
Okay, it's maybe a loaded question. Everything grows or dies, and one of the things early on with regard to the township, you wanted to make sure you had a balance of the open space and recreation and also development, because they should work together. When we did the shops at Union Hill, the other side had the soccer fields and the farm. What a blend. It's a perfect example of what should be happening. Now, I was talking to Chris and I said, one of the things that you need to understand is when the state of New Jersey decided that they wanted to have the housing for the seniors and the low and moderate income people, they mandated certain things. So some of the development that helps build the affordable housing, a quarter of it or half of it or whatever. So it does bring more, more housing and,
more influx of people.
I think too, one of the things that I noticed after the pandemic, people coming, because I do walk. I go to the market on Sunday and check out my point that I cleaned up and ask people where are they from and what, and they say, oh, we'll be moving into Denville from, down the line a little bit and out here because, the school system or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why, the people come out here. Yeah, change is inevitable.
What would you like to see for Denville in the future?
Well, one of the things I think, there's a mixed review because of my nature of the economics and being still involved in the Morris County Improvement Authority. I thought perhaps we could have a.
Wait, you're not retired?
No, I do. I'm not retired.
You're staying involved.
Oh yeah. I was in it since the inception, and it's a great thing.
You can't let it go. You love it. That's good.
Yeah, just when I thought it was safe.
They pulled it back in.
So
What movie is that from?
So anyway, I believe that there's a place for a parking authority. Now, parking authority doesn't cost the taxpayer anything, because
that would be nice.
What it does is it finances itself.
Yes.
It's from the fees and the
Mhm.
licensing, because I wouldn't just build a parking authority, which again can be appointed by the local officials.
Are you talking about maybe an infrastructure where people can actually park?
Yes.
That would be great.
And not only would you have, I don't want to just have a parking. I want to have a nice restaurant, maybe on the roof.
Yeah,
Maybe,
that would be.
maybe on the
Yeah,
second.
see, now you're thinking. See, that would be great.
I mean, that's
Denville needs it. Finding a parking spot when it's busy here is a nightmare.
and what it would be is, then they could have some local shops that wouldn't compete with what we already have, but some, I'll just make, like maybe a certain kind of clothing store that we don't have, or maybe something like whatever, that is would pay the licensing. And it wouldn't be bad to have, maybe a restaurant type that we don't have.
Yeah, that would be-
Something,
that
and
is-
Parsippany is booming with those
Oh.
restaurants that are,
Look at Dover. There's restaurants
and
everywhere.
So I just
People
I just
don't
think
cook
it
no
might
more.
might make a difference. I mean, right now, in fact, I was involved with improving the parking, which we've talked about since '86, but before I got here, '70s, they were talking about parking in Denville. And again,
They still haven't.
we have Lower Bloomfield, but it floods. You have Upper Bloomfield, you have First Avenue, you have, parking in various places. But if you could have that and have it be, a destination, and you could have work with the people that work for the community and have them get some kind of discount for their employees to park, so that they don't park on the street
Yeah,
or move their car. I mean,
that's
I know they've
perfect idea.
That
That
it's
needs
just
to get
something
done.
that I believe
I
in.
hope that's on their objectives list.
I know that the bid, the downtown Denville are working on it. They're broadening their perspective of how maybe that can happen, or how together we can make it happen. But that's just something that I believe in. And again, it's not a remark towards anybody that is involved right now, but that's my vision. As far as but there'll always be growth, and you want some growth, because
Yes.
you
Yeah,
don't want,
of course.
you don't want to
Businesses have to keep on going.
And I think the government, I mean, they just received not too long ago a AAA rating. So Denville, and there's not many communities. And when they got the AAA rating, this is when they even lowered the rating of the state of New Jersey.
Yes.
So Denville is in good hands as far as the finances, and but there's always, as my first grade teacher told my mother, there's always room for improvement. I've lived my life that way. You can always improve on what you do.
I want to ask you a question. We've been contacted by towns, like code enforcers, and they would, I guess they get involved with, like there's a group of people that we take care of, like that they need our services, and they're hoarders. So I believe the town enforcer is in charge of that. If somebody makes a complaint, or somebody's welfare is in danger of, a fire hazard, they actually contacted us. And since you worked in government, and I mean, is that the primary person that, watches over that type of situation? Because they actually we actually cleaned out the home, got the hoarding all out. And have you seen that in your line of work?
Yeah, in fact, of all places,
Because that's what we do. We do house clean outs and hoarding clean outs.
Because I actually, you won't believe this, but my major hoarding experience that I had was
you had a hoarding
Mendham. You would think.
Oh yeah, we've seen. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
but you don't ever as,
judge a book.
Sherlock Holmes would say, you never know what's going on. You can see
Yeah.
all the houses.
Oh, yeah.
But you lift that lid.
We've seen
and
it.
You look inside and you say, oh my goodness, I would
Yes.
have never known that was there. But I will say this,
Yes.
in Mendham we had an experience, and I remember the chief of police had come to me and he said, they didn't pay their electric, so there's no electricity, so they have heaters. And I said, Chief, we have to handle this. And then he kind of got, but then where will they go? I said, would you hate to get a phone call on Christmas Eve that the family is gone because of a fire. So
Well, yeah, we've had this
so,
type of
yeah.
experience. Not that there was
Yeah.
a fire, but there was,
Could be.
yeah, there could be a fire. And it definitely, with the hoarding experience, we've done hundreds, thousands by now, since we've been doing, since I've been involved in the waste removal business. And what I've noticed is that now there's laws that are even more stringent. The state gets involved, the DEP gets involved, and they give them options, ultimatums. Like, if you do not clean it, the state will have to pay for it. They will evict you. And and I hate that. And we're very compassionate because we understand hoarding is a mental.
Yeah.
Sometimes people
It's
lose
either
a
from
loved
a loss,
one,
a
loss.
a
There's
job,
some type of
lost,
compulsion, and we handle it very compassionately, and we actually get it cleaned at least enough for them to not start a fire. Get the windows cleared out, all the exits cleared out, and then anything, because people want to keep on to they shop excessively, and we've had customers where they wouldn't have opened boxes they didn't open any of the boxes that Amazon dropped off because they just ordered so much stuff. So we would open it up, show them what's in there, and say, here, if you want to save some. And we really do work diligently not to just throw stuff out that doesn't, but yeah, hoarding is a major issue, and we have seen it. And that's funny that you brought that up because it does happen.
No, I mean, I was, surprised, but we did handle it. We did have to.
How did you handle it? Did you have to find a junk removal company?
No, what we did was, we actually, it was owned by someone else. And they let them really live there rent free, because of.
You must have put a dumpster there for them to clean it out. or something.
No. What we did was we had to remove the family, and what I did was, because of my relationships with the county, I was able to get them housing and set them up that way. It was just devastating, and then because the owner actually had to clean it up, they didn't own it.
So the owner had to hire a third party. Which would be a junk removal company somewhere down the line.
But we were just concerned about the family,
and that's
safety,
good. And burning down the house.
I mean, and it is hard. It is hard to, to do, because people do look at you. The majority of people understand you did the right thing.
You have
it's
to.
Hard.
You have to.
Other people, you have to have a little bit of a thick skin when you.
You have to, and you did the right thing.
And do the right thing, but not everybody.
You didn't just throw them out in the street either. That's great. And I'm happy that that subject.
And we
was
did try to work with them before that to say, you have to do this and start paying, for your electric and not get the heaters, and we had multiple meetings with them, and then it was.
Yes, I've seen the procedures,
yes,
and
we did go through.
New Jersey is very
you're
lenient.
Talking about the construction code official. In fact, the construction code official, if there's a fire, not talking about hoarding, but in a company, they're called out to make sure that the building is viable.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not, they're the person that would shut down the building.
Mm-hmm.
So that's in their bailiwick.
So with our incidents is we get social workers first that call us sometimes, and then they get the town involved. The town sometimes gets in touch with us directly, and we've seen it, and we actually saved a lot of people, hundreds of people, from not getting evicted from their homes because of hoarding, because we cleaned it out, and we're very affordable. We are privately owned, and we charge only based on value, only how much of your items take up in our trucks. And what we did is just disrupt the whole junk removal industry, because usually most junk removal companies are franchises because they don't know how to get into the business because of the DEP A901 licensing is very difficult to get. But we were able to get it. We filled it out. We waited 2 years because it was COVID and the DP was shut down, and we waited. We had all the trucks ready. We just didn't have licensing, and we just did our other businesses, water restoration, junk removal. I mean, not junk removal, carpet cleaning.
Can I just say, one of the things I thought when I was going to come on, I thought we were going to talk also about your business.
Yes.
And so I prepared myself a little bit, and this guy named William Morris, and he said, if it's not useful or it's not something so beautiful, get rid of it.
Yes.
How many people here can say, I have never, and I'm one of them, so I usually start with me, I've never parked my car in my garage. Never.
You don't have room in it?
There's no room. And I have 2 cars in a 2-car
we
garage.
have a commercial actually about that.
In that garage.
We actually have a commercial about that.
Yeah, I figured you would. And then another thing is when you think about it, I found this was an interesting thing. The other one that's so current, if your kids go off to college and they don't come home, and you've got the record collection and the book collection and the clothes that they want, give them a deadline. Say
Mhm.
hello. I would like to maybe use that for an
Yeah.
office or for, can you come on
Oh
over
my God.
and pick up your, pick up,
Yeah, touching a.
take your stuff.
Yeah, that's a big one.
The other one is us, the seniors and we were collectors.
Yes,
They don't have
yes.
a tchotchke in their house. I was the queen of tchotchkes.
What is
I
a
would-
tchotchke?
Oh, like a little
Knick-knack?
knick.
Yes, so we come across a
Leo,
lot.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
we come
and,
across a lot of those.
I was a Leo. How many people gave me lions and tigers and bears? Oh my, because I'm year of the tiger too. So anyway, and I had teddy bears because I collected Beanie Babies.
Oh,
back then.
Beanie Babies. Yeah,
Beanie
we see
Babies.
a ton of those.
So my
And people
husband,
still
though, he
do.
really collected, newspapers from the Titanic, whatever.
Yes.
And he had, so he used to say to my son, well, when I die, I'm going to give you all this. And he said, yeah, mom and dad, then the next day I'll have a garage sale. I don't want it. They don't want it. So if you're out there and you think your kids want the stuff,
They don't
say,
want it.
come on over. You want this China set? No, we don't use China. We call it, we dial out. The glassware. I think I had the set of dishes that I got at the wedding. I never used it. We used whatever they were. They talk about, do you know, here's another, this is, if you could use this. If you declutter, 40% of your cleaning you've reduced.
Yes.
Because you know how hard it is to dust around all
Of
those
course.
tchotchkes?
Yes. We
Now you
have
know what a
changed
tchotchke is.
we've seen people cry because after we've done cleaning out their
And
places.
just to let you know that people still want to keep all the stuff. The storage companies,
Yes. We clean those.
$38 billion.
Industry?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
We clean out a lot of
$38
storage.
billion for storage.
Mhm.
Your bedroom, you should try to not, it's a place for rest and sleep, and your clutter is not what you want in your bedroom.
Yeah, you want to have freedom.
But your collections, I just want, and then how many people have a million towels? I mean,
yeah, we've seen from hotels, motels,
Well, I'm not talking about that.
Yeah, but we've seen them.
would
We've
take
seen people
who would
take,
take a towel?
who would take the towels from
My name's
a casino.
Hilton.
We've seen it though. We've seen
I know.
hundreds
I
of
can
towels.
imagine what you say.
Yeah,
as
and
I
we've
said.
seen junk actually from here hitting the ceiling and the whole entire room.
I've seen those shows where the people have to
Yes.
walk across.
We've done those houses.
I mean,
We're doing one right
applaud
today.
you for that.
We're doing one
That's
today.
what I thought. I was going to talk a little bit about, but
Yeah, we could talk. We could talk about that.
No, we
Yes.
did. And one of the things, ironically enough, I belong to this Irish association.
This what? Irish?
Association, and one of the women said, "I would like to, give out sheets on decluttering your house. 3 options: keep, donate, or toss." So I just thought, so I found the sheet, and I actually did do some of this, and it works.
Yes.
Yes, not that I clean the house, but 40% less.
Well, yeah, it helps you clean the house more.
So anyway, back to you. But one of the things we did talk to this is New Jersey, and I think we still are. The small business is what will keep our economy alive.
It's our backbone.
And again, we see it in the family business, because it truly is a family business. I mean, we have other entities such as
pharmaceutical companies and stuff.
But when I'm talking about family, we have 2 sisters, and then you have the architects in town, or sisters,
yes. Insurance
twins.
companies.
Yeah, and so we have. Denville is a family place.
Yeah, and it's becoming even.
And it's not just about the business. I mean, like I
bigger
said,
and
there's
better.
many family people that have worked and then have continued to work when their parents have retired and worked in government. Came back to work for Denville in public works or the police department or whatever.
What is your favorite place on Broadway to like? Because I like a place down there. What is one of your favorite places to eat, like a snack or something on Broadway?
I'm going to take the 5th. I was the downtown business executive director for 2 years. I will take the 5th. I've eaten everywhere.
There's a
and enjoyed
cupcake
it
place
all.
over there that's like.
Oh, the cupcake place.
Oh my god.
And then the place, which is a unique place, More Please.
Yes, yeah.
More Please, which is you should look up the history of that, because it's a remarkable story, and we're just blessed with the variety, and I'm trying to lose some weight, but I
Me
have,
too.
yeah, it's a constant battle, but I've really had an opportunity to try everything, and no disappointment there. So that's the answer to that question.
Yes.
It's a nice downtown. It's
Yeah.
a nice downtown, and First Avenue and Broadway, and we have a question.
We have a question.
Ellen, based on your vast experience in municipal government, what factors do you believe contribute to a thriving local business environment?
One of the main things is the cooperation between the residents, the business, the town. As I said, so goes the school, so goes the town, so goes the business, so goes the churches. One of the things is, and also we have some ways in which to communicate where can I get the best plumber, or clean the gutters, or to and we have that, and we have people that are willing to let you know who is out there doing the work. I think that I think working together, I think one of the things too, the community, say like the Rotary Street Fest is coming up, they'll have, the various stores will be open, the various restaurants will be open. So, and they support. Junk doctors. We just talked about how they're going to support the Denville After Dark. That's how it works. We all give and take. We're not here to make a fortune. We're here to sustain ourselves, to put bread on the table, and to care about each other. And again, as I said, a lot of the shop owners are volunteers. They're in the Joey Bella Fund, the fire department, the Rotary, the Kiwanis. We used to have the Lions. That's the way. That's the way to make a community thrive.
And to keep that going, and people get older, they move on to other things, and we have to get the younger generation to get involved in that, to keep that going.
Yeah, we have an organization, and we've had it for years. It's called, Pride in Denville. And I went to the function that they honored. In fact, the fish, Denville Seafood, was over 70 years. They got the key to the city. But one of the people there was somebody that cleans the Rockaway River. And he's a young guy, and he's up and coming. And,
wow, we did that last year.
Yeah,
but it was volunteer.
Yeah, no, he does it as a volunteer, but he does it continuous.
Oh, I think we worked with him then. Maybe was that the group that we worked with? They all wore the neon.
Yeah. Well, you have.
He's a guy.
Yeah, one of the and
he volunteers a bunch of people.
Yeah.
We did that. We were working with him last year.
Was his name Jason? I wish I could remember his name, because
we have it on.
I met him, and he's fabulous, and he's somebody
video.
That's just giving back.
He does it every year. Rockaway cleanup.
Yeah, Rockaway cleanup, but he's doing it consistently.
Yeah.
He does it before he goes to work.
Oh, okay.
This guy, he does it, for whatever. I was involved in creating what they call the Rockaway River Cabinet, and it was all the communities together. I was the first chair of this entity that, because the Rockaway River travels through many of our communities.
Yes, it does.
And it's a great asset.
Shocking what I pulled out of there.
Yeah. I know tires.
Tires. Yes, a lot of tires.
You can recycle the tires.
Yes.
But they have to put them in the river, and they're definitely coming from up the path there, up the stream. But that's another thing about Denville, the volunteerism. And one of the things if I don't say it, I got to say it now. We are so blessed to have what they call beautification. The Beautification Committee is a group of volunteers that have beautified Denville for a long time and continue to do so.
And you see it.
The flowers that are, and
Yeah.
it's on Route 10, and it's, and 53, and they do clean up, and they plant. I mean, we're blessed to have these people that are volunteer. Dave Sipple is the leader. Before that, it was Franz Fergus. And Denville was very lucky to have somebody realize, plant a flower, and created a community.
Maybe he could get rid of the image that people like to call us from out of state, Dirty Jersey.
Yeah, or the tunnel state. You tunnel in one end, you're in New York, or one end of Pennsylvania.
Well, Jersey doesn't get their recognition like New York does. We're like the the little brother or something, but we offer a lot here.
Absolutely.
We have great
all
malls.
the actors that come from.
Yeah,
all
oh
the
yeah,
famous people that come
yes,
from.
we
And
have
all
a
the
lot.
musicians
Tom
that come.
Cruise is from Jersey.
The boss is from New
The
Jersey.
boss is from Jersey.
But just Jersey's a special
Jersey's a
place.
great state. I
think
love
what
it.
Jersey can do is we have our own, as we both speak of in our vernacular. I tried, even though I've been out here for 38 years, I still have my Jersey City accent. Proud of it, and I know you have your New York accent, and but I think Jersey's a good kept secret sometimes.
Yeah.
So,
Well, the further you go up, because Chris Christie enacted the I think the Highland Act, where you don't build.
yeah.
You
the
know,
Highlands, to protect the
Yeah.
the watershed,
and you can't no development could be built there, and we could
and
go.
riparian rights. It used to be 100 feet from the area, but now it's 300 feet.
And it's great. It's great because
yeah.
you could go to Sussex County, and the sign that they say where people meet nature or something in that notion.
It's really nice.
And you could go up to Sussex County, no malls, no movie theaters. It's just open and it's beautiful, mountainous. And then you go to Vernon in Warren County. You see a lot of development in Phillipsburg. I mean, I see it now.
New Jersey. I mean, we, and again, best kept secret. We're horse country.
Yeah, we have a lot of horses.
Yeah, and we are. The people do laugh. We are called the Garden State.
We are.
We are the
grow
Garden
a lot
State,
of stuff here.
We do. We have our tomatoes.
And now there's a new crop being grown here, and we all know what that is.
I say nothing. Again, the fifth. Chris, this has been so enjoyable.
Yes.
To talk about. I've so many stories and so many people that I've met along the way that have been partners in what I was able to do, because you can't do it alone.
And it seems like you were able to bring people together. You have that talent.
Yeah. And one of the things we did, which was fun, which I don't think any other candidates, we used to cook breakfast. We cook breakfast at town hall, and first we'd have the police come in and we cook them breakfast. And this was the mayor and the council and myself and other people. And then we bring in the public works guys and cook them breakfast. I mean, breakfast.
That was
everything
nice.
from soup to nuts.
Do they still do that?
No.
Of course not.
And then
why would we be so lucky?
The people, the town people, the nurse,
so nice.
Pat Val and I used to have a fun. We used to have the hairnet on, and we have the thing. We scramble the eggs, and we'd make the bacon. And
great.
And then on Memorial Day, we used to have Labor Day. We used to have the cookout. And the only fight I had to break up in the construction office was one guy wanted to stir the onions. And the other guy said, don't stir the onions.
And he got into a fight.
Fight over the onions. But, we used to make hamburgers and have watermelon and do that. But we still do. One of the things that Denville does is we have the senior picnic. And the workers from town hall prepare the hot dogs and the hamburgers and, serve.
And the community also got involved.
Absolutely.
Now, today's world, do you see less community involvement?
Not in Denville. I think we're still.
I see Denville.
And there's some old
together.
soldiers that are still volunteering. That are in
had
their
to pass it
80s
on.
and the 70s, and like, for example, the duck race that they have for the Sunrise Rotary. 400 ducks, poured into the Rockaway. I mean, I'm still going in the water and gathering them up. So. And that's what we do.
That's really amazing.
Yeah. So from duck races.
Duck races.
My sister-in-law was one of the persons involved with starting it. And when talk about people not realizing, this is years ago, she gets a call because there was a number if you wanted to buy a duck for $10 for the Rotary, and the woman says, "Well, what do I do with the duck? After the race?" And she says, "What are you talking about? You could put it on your desk. You put it in a shelf." She goes, "What do I feed it?" And she said, "What do you feed it?"
No, they're rubber. Ducks. They're rubber ducks.
So I'm thinking to myself, can you imagine 400 live ducks? And you dump the dumpster in. Which direction are the ducks going?
People really thought you were literally talking about a duck. I could believe that. I'm not surprised. I know coming to the end of our chat here, but I want to ask one more question here. As someone who has dedicated their life to public service, what legacy do you hope to leave in Denville? It's emotional. I am sorry
That
but I have to.
whenever you called, she was there. Whenever you needed a volunteer, she was there. If you needed someone to sell 50/50s, she was there. She cared about her people that worked with her. She cared about her community. I'm sorry, this
It's
is
okay. It's okay.
I'm not
It's
Irish or nothing.
okay.
I can
It's
tell a
okay.
joke and
You
laugh and
did
cry
great
at
work.
the same time.
I read about you. We had great conversations, and you have done some
No.
amazing.
So just
and you're
that
a mother too,
yes,
and
I am.
that's a big.
And that's what when the police used to come for the interviews, they used to call me the mother of Denville. And then this one guy, and this is as I was older, and I think they said they say you just like the grandmother. I said, you're not going to be a police officer. Don't call me grandmother. but no, I said no. I'm happy you call me grandmother. But I lived and loved in Denville and
Yes, good.
laughed a lot too.
And your legacy is gonna
You did
be
lip
known.
syncs for the seniors. Oh my God, I did everything from I don't know. And costumes. We wore costumes. We were snowmen and different things.
But you were involved in
parades.
some really good projects that really helped this town. And
It's the onions they cooking here.
Yeah, they are cooking. We got our Italian grandmother over there making gravy.
Oh God.
But I mean, that is amazing. Thank you for coming up here and sharing your experience. This was one of the greatest.
No, don't. It's
It was really good. I really appreciate it. It was great meeting somebody that's worked in this area.
And that again, one of the things, and I'm still around, and you can find me. I would like to. I continue to want to mentor people to go into this field. You were asking about the younger people, but we need
Yes.
finance directors. We
Yes.
need good administrators. We need some good
There's
construction
jobs out
officials. There
there.
are jobs out there.
Yes,
that,
people.
and as Chris has said, we're unsung. But just know when you put your own head on the pillow, it's about what you know what you've done. You don't need anything
There's
else.
opportunities out there.
Opportunities
People
and to serve.
could do this.
What better thing but to serve, your community, to serve, your senior, to actually literally serve your senior that hamburger, or to serve a kid. And
That's what we want.
And when I did the downtown Denville thing, I had worked with the schools, so we had the Year of the Tiger, and we had them do an art project. And there's so many different ways that you can reach out and touch somebody. When I worked with the VOTEC as downtown, I asked them to prepare 22 banners for all the volunteer groups, and the graphic artist took it on, and all these kids did all this design, and we've hung them up on the on that fencing there, and it was a tremendous community effort to again thank the Rotary and the Sunrise Rotary and the Girl Scouts. I will tell you this: there is no parade in Denville if the Girl Scouts and the Boy Scouts and the Cub Scouts and the Brownies are not in it, because they pick up the parade.
Yes.
And thank you, Fire Department, which I didn't speak of, but again, I was, as I
Yeah.
said, Public Safety Director, and I worked very closely with the Fire Department. And another unsung thing, on June 22nd, 2001, when there was the horrific crash of two trucks and
The school
a
bus?
tanker. No, it wasn't a school bus. It blew up it took out the bridge. We closed Route 80.
Yes.
It was our fire department that is used as an example by the state as how to handle an
I remember
emergency,
that.
because they brought in everybody.
That was a
The
big crash.
Bootons came out, the Rockaways, the Randolphs, the Picatinny brought the foam. That was a remarkable effort on the part of even
Yeah.
Public Works. What they call them pigs, and they put them in the river because that tanker was a fuel, and
Yes.
the fuel was spilling in, but it was absorbed by this. So when you think tonight, think about especially the volunteer firemen
Yes,
of
they're doing
Denville
this
that
for
get up
free.
in the middle of the night to handle somebody who's having a heart attack, or they're volunteers.
Yes.
And I want to thank
And
them.
people
because
have to
I
realize
love
that.
working with them. I was able to, as public safety, be at many of the scenes, be it a fire, whatever. They're remarkable people we have in Denville. And you're asking about volunteer. They're still volunteering out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And here at Junk Doctors NJ, we as a company, even though we work, tremendous hours, we still find time to get back to the community. We're local, privately owned, started from the ground up. And without the community, without our customers, we would be nothing. And that's why we adopted to, provide better service, customer service. As you see me and the people that work here, you call, you probably most likely will talk to me. So you know who you're talking to. You're familiarized with who's the person that's representing the company, and you're dealing with a good company with a great reputation. And that's what small local businesses are about. I don't have nothing against big corporations and franchises. This is America. You could do that. But I chose to go into business without going through a franchise. We did as a team. And, going local and going with somebody that's from your immediate area, we will give you and provide you the best service. And I believe Ellen understands what I'm saying as a small
I do,
businesses.
because I want to say that I sense the thing. It's called Maslow's theory, and one of the things, it's ego on the top, and it doesn't mean the ego that we think of. It's not about the money. I mean, you want to put bread on the table,
Yes.
but it's about your soul. It's about your spirit. The nature of a person, you give, you give, and you know what? You get more back. You get the sense of that I made a difference, and that's priceless.
Mhm.
And so you do your business, but you do it with a kind heart and a soul, knowing that you want to
Yes.
help somebody, and
Yes.
and it just multiplies.
You just hit a really big topic for us, because inflation went up, prices went up. Our prices did not go up. Our prices, we could, go the same route as other companies, maximize profit, charge for bagging, disposal, but we don't. We don't charge any extra fees but what you use up in our trucks, and we pack those trucks very tightly on purpose so you can save money. It's not about making the most profit. We want to make money, of course, to keep our business going, and we will make profit, but it's not about the maximum amount of profit. It's about also providing good service and good prices. Some companies, they overcharge, they throw the garbage in the truck, don't pack it correctly so it looks bigger, and they use different gimmicks, and I call them gimmicks, and it's unfair. That's why I wanted to get into business myself with my business partners and disrupt that industry and provide our New Jerseyans, our people that work, and they work hard for their money, and you do not deserve to be taken advantage. And we can guarantee you, small businesses like Junk Doctors NJ will provide that. And you can see that on our websites, on our social media, and even in our interviews, what kind of people and business we are. And Ellen, with that said, do you have anything else you would like to
No,
add?
I just want to say to those people that the kids still have that stuff, give them a deadline and get it out. And if you need help, call the Junk Doctors. The
Yeah.
other thing is, I'm thinking, because he's talking about filling the truck and making sure you get your best bang for the buck. Maybe the junk surgeons, because you're fine tuning it with the getting all that stuff in there. But anyway,
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
happy to be here, and
Thank you.
the audience here has been wonderful. They did the wave and everything for me. That was very good. Anyway, God bless all.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you very much for having me.
Thank you so much for coming up, and thank you for your service.
Okay, thank
It's
you.
been great.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching, and whoever's going to watch later on. And if you're interested in your small business, get on our website, entrepreneurs, small businesses, or entrepreneurs and businesses, and come check us out and come become part of the podcast. So thank you for tuning in. This is Junk Doctors NJ, Christopher Rose, here with Ellen Sandman, and she is not retired.
No.
She is still involved.
Still involved.
So she's still here,
And I'm not retiring.
and she is not retiring. She's
And
not
the good
slowing
news
down.
about this is, if you really, not Chris, but if you really don't, you can always turn the channel. Because, but I hope you don't.
Have a nice day, everybody. Thank you so much to the small community and to the small businesses out there. Keep on thriving and keep on going. Thank you, and have a great day.